The Sixth Amendment, right to counsel. Okay, so the Sixth Amendment, right to counsel, attaches once a person is formally charged. Now, once a person is formally charged, remember the Fifth Amendment, Miranda, is also implicated if a person requests counsel. But for a Sixth Amendment question, once a person is formally charged, the right to counsel attaches. If a sentence of, and here's the interesting part, if a sentence of imprisonment is actually imposed. So when would we be talking about this? We're talking about felonies punishable by a year or more in prison. So the Sixth Amendment attaches once a person is formally charged, whether that's an information, a document given to a magistrate to decide whether a person should be indicted, or at an indictment, a grand jury proceeding, or anything else. Okay, so that's simple, right? We've got our Sixth Amendment right to counsel. If you're indigent under Gideon versus Wainwright, and you are accused of a crime that involves imprisonment of a year or more, you have a right to counsel at the state's expense. All right, now how can we violate the Sixth Amendment right to counsel? Well, Messiah versus United States gives us three prongs. One, deliberate elicitation of incriminating statements. Two, after the right to counsel attaches. And three, outside the presence of counsel. The Sixth Amendment right to counsel is seen as a guarantee that counsel be physically present during any post-charging interrogation. So that guarantee is violated when you're interrogated outside the presence of counsel, whether you're dealing with the police, the FBI, or whomever. So that is where we are looking at for our three principles from Messiah versus the United States. Deliberate elicitation of incriminating statements. Two, after the right to counsel attaches. Three, outside the presence of counsel. We're going to break down those three things. Number one, deliberate elicitation. There are two ways to prove deliberate elicitation. One, prove the police actually intended to elicit the information or consciously tried to produce an incriminating statement, or they create a situation that they must know is likely to generate an incriminating statement. And then there's the recklessness standard. They consciously took an unjustifiable risk of producing an incriminating statement. Okay, so when are we creating a situation they know is likely to generate an incriminating statement? When the police are an active participant in undercover police work. You've got police or a CI in your cell. If they don't talk and they just listen, the Sixth Amendment is not violated. But if they talk and try to engage someone in conversation, that is a violation. Okay, so after the right to counsel attaches, that's after formal charges and outside the presence of counsel. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of cases here. We're going to talk about two. The one is United States versus Henry. So in United States versus Henry, there was a CI in his prison cell. He was indicted for armed robbery. He was in jail pending trial. So therefore, his Sixth Amendment right to counsel had attached. There was a paid CI who was asked to be alert to any statements made by federal prisoners, but not to initiate conversations. So Henry in prison made incriminating statements, and the CI testified against Henry at trial. Now, this was admissible because why? Did the CI deliberately elicit information? No. The right of counsel had attached, and in the absence of counsel, but there was no deliberate elicitation. So we have our Sixth Amendment right to counsel, and under Messiah, deliberate elicitation after the right to counsel attaches and outside the presence of counsel.